Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into the meaning of resurrection. Not just the historical angle, but what it might mean for you right now.
Yeah, we've got some really interesting thoughts from a Lenten study group and also some reflections from Reverend Jeong.
Exactly. And the goal isn't to land on one single answer, but, to explore how varied these interpretations are and why they still feel relevant.
It's about seeing how this idea, resurrection, kind of shows up in everyday life. Less about abstract theology, maybe, and more about lived reality.
So the study group kicked off with this great question. What does resurrection mean to you today? And one theme that came up a lot was hope.
Hope, that feeling after hardship, when things start looking up again, sort of a emotional rising.
It's that classic light after darkness feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very human.
Absolutely. And tied to that, another idea was quiet courage. Not necessarily a big fanfare, but that inner faith to try something new, start again.
That quiet persistence. I like that. It makes sense.
It's that little bit of strength you find to, move forward.
And building on that, there was this idea of trust. Trusting that even when you can't see the path, something somehow will work out or support you.
Right. A kind of fundamental faith in things unfolding, even amidst uncertainty.
It's fascinating how these things, hope, courage, trust, they're not just abstract concepts here. People felt them as, tangible parts of resilience.
Definitely. And some folks in the group even talked about the journey itself being a kind of resurrection.
Yeah.
Falling down, getting back up, learning, that whole cycle.
The continuous process.
Yeah.
Life isn't just one straight line, is it? It really hits home.
Yeah.
Now, someone in the group made a really strong statement. Without resurrection, there is no Christianity. That really underlines how central it is, even if people understand it differently.
And Reverend Jeong's writing sort of picks up on that. It emphasizes that it's not purely intellectual. It's about experience.
Oh, right. Like the early disciples. They didn't maybe get it all at once.
Exactly. Their understanding came from what happened after, from how their lives changed and what they lived through. It wasn't just a concept they signed up for.
Which leads to a key point a lot of people share. Maybe resurrection isn't necessarily about believing in the literal physical body coming back to life.
Right. The deeper truth might be in what it symbolizes. That death, and not just physical death, but the death of hope, the end of relationships, failures, isn't the final word.
So mistakes, grief, betrayals. Yeah. They don't have to define everything. There's something more.
Yes. It points to love being stronger than fear, or grace having the power to redeem things we thought were lost. It makes faith more of an active practice.
A living journey, not just a set of beliefs you tick off.
Precisely. It becomes about how you live here on earth, day to day, not just, a ticket to somewhere else later on.
And Reverend Jeong shared some very personal ways this shows up. Things like quiet breakthroughs after being stuck.
Or healing from loss, which takes time. Or finding the strength for that really hard one, forgiveness.
Yeah. Or regaining trust after deep despair. Daring to hope again when it feels almost impossible.
Little flickers of joy after grief. Or finding courage right in the middle of fear. These are all, in a sense, small personal resurrections.
It's powerful stuff.
And Reverend Jeong sums it up personally by saying, look, we're not finished. Even when we feel broken, God, or maybe just possibility, is still present, still working. Something more is always possible.
It's a really hopeful perspective, even in difficult times.
It is.
So, for everyone listening, the invitation here really is to think about your own life. Where does your story intersect with these ideas?
Yeah, does the hope part resonate? Or the quiet courage? Maybe the trust aspect? Or just the idea of the ongoing journey?
How might these different ways of seeing resurrection speak to what you're going through right now?
It leads to that final thought for you to consider. In your current situation, whatever challenges you're facing, what might rising again actually look like for you?